Hi friends, welcome to the Mother's Journey to Holistic Health and Healing podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Prieto, and thank you so much for stopping in and listening today. This is episode 13. I wanted to express my gratitude and appreciation for those of you listeners who have been coming in and listening to the episodes. I really hope that they've been helpful for you, providing value, providing you insights, different ways of thinking when it comes to your health, your mind, your body, your spirit. And I would be most greatly appreciated if you are enjoying the podcast. Please feel free to. I invite you to leave a review, whether it's on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you listen, to leave a review. Maybe even share it with someone that you feel could benefit from it. Please feel free to do that. It would help the podcast grow and help reach the audience, right? Help others who may benefit from the podcast. So I really appreciate if you could do that. That would mean a lot. Well, let's get started in today's episode. Today we are going to be talking about healthy eating, and specifically really just redefining what healthy eating means to you. So health eating really in general, right? It can be pretty nuanced, and we can get a lot of information, and we might have a lot of beliefs that maybe we have learned or picked up, information we've learned and kind of just put into our patterns throughout our growth, right? As we've grown, as we've evolved, certain things we've learned, heard, been taught, some things we may have seen, whether it's in a book or social media, anything really around nutrition and eating. There's a lot of outside influencers, right, on what cultivates that and what shapes not only our relationship with food, because that can also be in our community, right, our family, those we live close with. But also, it can also shape the way we see food in terms of like our mindset towards it. And we don't maybe give it much thought, right? We don't give much thought to how we might think about what healthy eating means to us or our relationship with food for that matter. Maybe until a moment comes where it is brought to your attention with some red flags or some concerns that have been brought up to the surface that now you're having to evaluate this and think about that. So I thought it would be helpful to dive into this. And this is a lot of work that I do with my clients because, like I said, most of them are coming from a history of dieting. And that includes myself as well. I had a lot of unlearning to do that in my belief system, and really unhelpful information that was not true, was not helpful to me and my culture. So I had a lot of unlearning to do and make peace, like they say, heal your relationship with food, right? I had to do a lot of that kind of work, is what I also help my clients do. So I get a lot of patients that come and clients that come from a background of yo-yo dieting, having tried many diets under the sun for whatever reasons, right? And taking it back even further, a lot of clients and patients that have a disordered relationship with food because of the way that in the setting they were grown up in. So whether it's, let's say, for example, in their family, and they had a big family and they developed a scarcity mindset. And so they had issues now with not being able to leave food on their plate, feeling like they need to finish it all because, they didn't know how much food they were going to be able to have because their older brothers and sisters were taking what they could, and really they're just trying to get what they can, right? Scarcity, having like this scarcity mentality. Or for people who have struggled with access to nutritious foods, right? Low income, right? Socioeconomic status. So people having a hard time accessing quality nutritious foods. And that can lead to a scarcity mindset as well, because you don't know when you're going to have those foods again, right? Any kind of food. And it's really sacred. And so it's kind of like a survival mode where you're not really sure when you're going to have it again. So there is a lot that it's not always about the food. But when we peel the layers, we can see that it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's much more beyond the food. So I thought it would be helpful today if we can talk about, and these are just my thoughts, my current beliefs now around how I see what healthy eating means. And I encourage you, I empower you to do the same, to create your own definition of what healthy eating means to you. And if you're not quite sure what that could look like because you have a history of dieting, or you just feel it's kind of disordered and you're not really sure and you're confused about it, then maybe some of the things that I share today can help you be like a starting point to give you some direction, some clarity, and helping you to reevaluate, maybe get rid of some of the things that you feel aren't helpful for you, and redefine what healthy eating means to you. So let's just start then. Let's start there. If you have a pen and paper, get that out. And if you're driving and listening, maybe just put it in your mind in your little file cabinet, right? And you can go back to it later and write it down. But think about, when you think about healthy eating, what does that mean to you? You may come up with things that you've been told or that you've been read, like the My Plate method, or maybe some recommendations that doctors told you, or maybe some things that maybe registered dietitians, nutritionists, fitness trainers, like things you've read and seen places, books, magazines, blogs, recipes, Pinterest, like all of it. But for you, think about, what does healthy eating mean to you? Simple. You don't have to get too complex. Keep it simple. Right? So write that down. And after you wrote it down, right, reread it and see how it makes you feel in your body. Notice if any emotions come up. I'm just noticing them. Okay. And maybe below that, you also write, what does unhealthy eating look like for you? And just make some notes there, some bullet points, whatever you feel, whatever comes to mind, just note those down. Why is this important? Because maybe these aren't your own actual thoughts and beliefs around it. Maybe they are things that you've been told to believe that make it, quote unquote, healthy or unhealthy. And so the reason why I encourage this exercise and get my clients to do it as well is because as we're recreating what healthy eating and health means to them, we're looking at our values as well. And we want those to line up. We want it to align. So when we see this list of what healthy eating looks like and versus unhealthy eating, we're looking at some of those thoughts and tying them in with your values. In other words, let's say, for example, you have healthy eating, and under there it's like, well, it's to give me energy, it's to prevent disease, it's to feel better, And this is aligning with your health vision. When you think about what healthy means to you or why you want to be healthy, you notice that aligns with that. And so that means that it's true for you. But if maybe there's a lot of, for example, eating quote unquote clean, not eating processed foods, maybe it's eating at these certain times. I'm just giving examples, but it's not quite aligning with your actual true values and what your actual authentic definition of healthy eating could be. So I hope that's making sense, and I hope that's landing with you. You might need to replay the episode or replay that part just to let it sit and let it land. So in other words, maybe the certain beliefs, the certain things you've been taught about what healthy eating is versus and unhealthy eating isn't 100% true, and it may not 100% be yours, your own. Here's where the empowerment comes in. You get to choose what you want to be true, what's going to help you, and what you don't want, and what's not helping you. But once you become aware, then you can start to make this change. Without the self-awareness, you cannot make those changes. So this is the why on why I ask clients to do this exercise. And this is where the inner work starts and what it looks like. It's actually thinking and taking back and doing some critical thinking on, what does that actually mean and feel like? Do I want to continue to feel and think this way about it? And why is it even so important anyway? Like, why should I even care about what healthy eating, right, means? And maybe to you it will, and maybe to you it doesn't. And I'm just going to give you an example. In my case, it was important to me because I knew how disordered my relationship was with food. When I had my, long history and career of dieting for 10 years before I went into bodybuilding. I'd say I graduated from college in 2010. That's when I started bodybuilding and went even stricter with my food and restriction and elimination and under eating and very, lower calories and, that went on for about 3 years or so. Getting anxiety attacks from it, missing my period, and this is me going in, I already had my degree in dietetics, so I knew what I was doing, but it was just about the look, right? Again, back then I didn't have any children or anything else, but at the time it was just, the focus was on myself and this image that I was so badly yearning to get to. And did it solve all my cures for how I felt about myself? No. Okay. So anyway, once I realized what this was doing to me, this obsession with wanting to eat a certain way, with wanting to eat quote unquote healthy, I realized how much it was affecting my mental health, right? I was just not happy. I was not in the best moods. I was, anxious all the time. Like I said, I was having anxiety attacks. I was having insomnia. I couldn't sleep because of all the over exercising and under eating I was doing. Fatigued, missing my cycle. I was disconnected from my relationships, in particular my partner. And then most importantly with myself. I was just not in tune with my body whatsoever. And then when I got pregnant, I had a miscarriage, which I blamed myself for at that time and had to heal through that. But when I got pregnant with my son, I realized, I learned how toxic these habits of mine really were. They weren't healthy like I thought. And people would tell me, oh, Marissa, you're so healthy. You bring your food here with you. And, you're so disciplined when it comes to eating this at the restaurant. Yes, but at the cost of my mental health and my emotional health. And it was very strict. I didn't give myself any freedom or flexibility or grace, right? I didn't give myself choices. I didn't build trust with myself and my body, which created a lot of disconnection from me being able to know when I was hungry and full, which is what the dieting does as well. So there's a lot of healing and work to do around that. And also with your eating and fullness cues, your hunger and fullness cues. So I realized that I can't pass these habits onto my son, onto my children. I can't let them have this disordered unhealthy, harmful, toxic relationship with food. And this is when I started recreating and redefining what healthy eating meant to me. No. Healthy eating, food, is for the soul. Food is to fuel our body, our mind, and our spirit. Especially if you come from a background that you have traditional cultural foods, meals that are part of your culture and a part of who you are since you've been raised as a young girl. In my case, Mexican food, which we learn from diet culture that they are quote unquote unhealthy. And I had a lot of work to do around that. We see how much vegetables we incorporate in our meals, and our caldos, our soups, right? Our salsas, our guacamole, right? There is just so much color to them, and flavor and spice and herbs. So to say that they are unhealthy is just fear-mongering from the diet culture world. And it's just taking an awareness to understand and learn that. And reconnecting again to your body, to yourself, to redefining again what healthy eating means to you. So I realized my son's not having these foods that I've been brought up in. I realized I'm not giving him the pleasure to enjoy, for example, a popsicle or a cake or pizza or whatever the case may be on a busy day, to pick up, some nuggets or whatever, fast food or something frozen to pop in the oven. Those are convenience foods that, yes, are helpful for us as busy moms to survive on, that provide nourishment. So I hope that you can let go some of that guilt and know that this is where redefining what healthy eating means to you. We want to let go the fear, the guilt, the shame that has not been brought upon by you. It's been brought upon by diet culture. Unhelpful messages that are bringing fear to you, to making you think and believe that they are not for you, that they are quote unquote unhealthy, that they're going to do harm. Let me tell you, there is much more to our health than just our nutrition. And yes, it is important. But is it going to cause you more stress and anxiety thinking about, should I get organic or not organic? And then not even getting any fruit at all. So when I realized that I did not want to pass those habits down onto my children, that's when my motive became even stronger. And I continued to do the inner work of healing my relationship with food, with exercise, my body image for that matter, that weight doesn't equal health, learning about the social determinants of health, which, by the way, is what really makes up the bulk of our health. For example, including socioeconomic status, racism, discrimination, environmental, mental health, emotional health. The list goes on and on. Transportation, home, housing, clean water, access to quality food, transportation, if I didn't say that already, access to quality healthcare, like all of these things make up and impact our health. Oppression, systems of oppression impact our health. And that ties into nutrition and food, which is a whole other podcast episode. But today we're focusing on healthy eating and what that could mean for you. So when I started to do the work and look at it more positively, from a more positive approach, that healthy eating is, yes, it's eating in community with your family, maybe being more present with the food, maybe expressing your gratitude for it, for the flavor, for the taste, from where it came from. Feeling thankful. Being in tune with your body's cues and eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. Noticing the eating environment. What's the eating environment like? Is it peaceful? Is it fun and chaotic? Because that's how it is at our meal times. Or is there a lot of arguments going on and yelling and frustration, irritability? And that's going to happen from time to time. But is it happening more often than not? Is that part of, do you want that to be part of healthy eating and the eating experience? So maybe think of it of a more positive approach. What does healthy eating to me mean? Oh, well, for me, example, maybe it means I want to get more produce if I have access to it, right? Access to this. And if not, how can I get access? What are the resources I need to go to get access to fresh produce? WIC, for example, food stamps, getting help, canned foods, frozen foods, which are just as nutritious as fresh, just are able to provide a longer shelf life if you need it, and are usually a bit less expensive. Think about what it could be for you and your family. What would work best for you? Is it for convenience? Right? You just heat something up in the microwave real quick, or the air fryer, or the oven, or stovetop. Is it drinking more water? Hydrating your body. We are made up of mostly water. Is it giving your body enough water that it needs to improve the fatigue, to hydrate your skin, to hydrate your brain, your joints, right? Give you energy. Is it eating enough throughout the day, where I pray that for you, you have sufficient amount of food to get you through for you and your family, to feed your family. And again, where can you get resources? Where could you go to for help? From the government or in your community, right? Sometimes the government isn't enough to help there. It's going to directly to your local community food banks. Are you eating enough? Are you able to eat enough to help you feel nourished, to help you feel energized, to help you get into the next meal? Are you eating enough? Your 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And for some people, they tell me a lot, I'm not used to eating breakfast. I'm not a breakfast person, or lunch, and dinner becomes the only meal of the day. But they're noticing that they're eating way beyond past their fullness, that they feel very uncomfortable, which impacts them how they sleep, and maybe even reflux can trigger their reflux. Then maybe there's some evaluation and experimenting to do around that. Does healthy eating mean eating maybe more small, more frequent meals throughout the day? Maybe it's not the bigger meals, maybe it's smaller. And what could that look like for you? This could be helpful working with one-to-one with someone like myself, for example, trying out different things to see what works for you. Is it balancing your plate adequately with variety, right? And balance, again, this comes into, do you have the access to it? Are you able to incorporate some type of protein, whether it's coming from an animal source or a non-animal source, be it eggs, dairy, beans, animal sources? Are you able to incorporate some fruit and vegetables in there? How about a starch, some type of a starchy food item, a grain or a corn or tortillas or bread or pasta? Yes, pasta is okay, right? This rap we get around pasta that it's bad. Again, redefining what that is for you. How can we incorporate more fiber into your meals? That'll help you with your cholesterol. That'll help you with your digestive system. With your energy to feel more sustained. With your glucose levels to keep them a little bit more sustained. How about fats? Are you incorporating fats into your meals? Fats that are going to help you with your vitamin absorption, with your hair, skin, and nails. To also help slow down the digestion process so you feel more satisfied. That are going to help your good cholesterol, your HDL. And do you have access to them, right? Like avocados, nuts and seeds, olive oils, right? Canola oil, avocado oil, which some oils can get expensive. So here's where we do, working one-to-one with a dietitian to see, maybe it's planning out and budgeting a grocery list to see what you're able to afford. And are you drinking enough water throughout the day? And when it comes to eating out, how often are you eating out, right? There's nothing wrong with eating out. There's nothing wrong with going to the fast food restaurant, with going to the restaurant. It can become an issue when it comes down to the frequency. And how is it impacting you internally in terms of your heart, right? Your circulation, the cholesterol, your blood pressure, your energy? Are these foods from being eaten out making you feel more lethargic and quote unquote heavy and tired and kind of dragging and sluggish, right? So kind of assessing again, how do those kind of foods make you feel and how often are you consuming them? The consistency, right? Or I should say like how often we have them, it plays a big role. So if you're having it maybe once a week, twice a week, but you notice it's not impacting you as much, but it's something daily and you are noticing how much it's impacting you, maybe then you can see that's when you can make a change. Then redefining, how often do I want to consume fast food? Like what is one small step that I can do to reduce my intake of eating out if this is what I choose to do, right? There are so many ways to improve your eating habits, to make them more quote unquote healthy. There's so many ways, so many directions to go. And working with a dietitian like myself, working with a coach can help you see, here's where all that you could work on. But what's one thing, maybe two at the max, that you'd like to start working on now? So that way you can make it realistic and the changes sustainable and doable that are not going to overwhelm you into doing a 360. Like I did years ago when I decided to go vegan from one day to the next, cold turkey. And I did it for 5 years until, I started having a lot of guilt and shame when I started craving, the chocolate, the eggs, the cheese. So, and then my son was born. So think about for you, what does healthy eating mean to you? Think about your relationship with food. Do you feel shame or guilt, disgust or regret or fear around certain foods? Remember that this is coming from somewhere else, not you. So there's nothing wrong with you if you feel like you're stress eating, right? Emotional eating, binge eating, having this tendencies of disordered eating habits, of food rules and anorexia or other types of eating disorders. It's not you. It can be systems that have been impacted, that have impacted you. Diet culture, the society we live in today, maybe how you were brought up. Maybe your mom, your auntie, your grandma, your abuela, someone constantly on a diet, telling you that you were quote unquote chubby or fat or gorda. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's how it impacted you to think and believe differently about it. Or that you have to eat quote unquote clean or whole foods all the time. Sure, that'd be nice, but most of us live in a fast-paced world, especially as moms. Most of us don't have like organic farms up the street, If we shop in a supermarket. Some of us have to travel an hour or two to the supermarket. We live in rural areas. We need to stop comparing ourselves to other people's lifestyles or the standards that the My Plate has, or other organizations that tell you eat 3 to 4 servings of vegetables each day. That might not be realistic or sustainable for some people. So again, I'd like you to take some time to think about, what does healthy eating look like for you now, and how would you like it to look like? And how would you like your relationship with food to be? Is it more peaceful, more appreciative, more fun, where you can enjoy cake and tamales and hamburger, or, a pizza? Oh, I love pizza. I'm a big fan of pizza. And I love pizza so much that I was a young girl, they used to call me Pizza. That's a true story. I was always so embarrassed of that. But it's cool. It's all out of love. And do you need to do some healing and work around that? And if you're not sure where to start or where to go, please reach out to me. I am accepting clients right now, one-to-one, for well-being coaching, nutrition, health and wellness coaching. You can click the link in the description in the podcast and you can book a call with me and just have a nice casual chat. By the way, it's free, to talk about what your struggles are, what you want to change, your goals, right? And how I can help you get there if we're a good fit, and talk about my services. So friends, I hope I've given you some food for thought and thinking about, what does healthy eating mean to you right now? What is your relationship with food? What are the feelings that often arise when it comes to eating or meal planning? And know that it's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. But maybe things that you were taught, beliefs, right? Information that was not true. And rediscovering, redefining what it could look like for you to help you feel more a relationship that's more peaceful, that's more positive, uplifting, but most importantly, that you can also pass on to your children to help them see what healthy eating habits really look like, and not this disordered one that you were brought into years and years and years ago, that you're trying to break the habits now and worried that they're going to catch on to them. That's when the real work comes in. And it becomes, a bit more about your children and breaking that generational cycle. So if you're all about breaking generational cycles and growth, and you really want to make a change and you're serious about it, I really encourage you to reach out. And let's talk about how we could work together. All right, friends, thank you so much for your time and listening today. I hope this was helpful for you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.